Today is Friday. Why was I about to say October? I know why. My train of thought got messed up because I forgot to put the do not disturb on my phone. That's what happened. And it threw me off for a second. So if my phone goes off or something, it's because I forgot to put the do not disturb on the phone. Okay, today is Friday, November the 20th. I am your host, Casey Phoenix, if you don't already know, and this is my daily thought. Today's been a chill day. I've been kind of irritated today. Not necessarily anything specific that anyone has done. I know that Mars, for those who are into astrology, if you follow the show, you know I follow astrology and tarot card readings and things like that. And Mars has went direct. So people might be a little bit more on edge now, but also they'll have that go-getter attitude where they want to get things done. And yeah, I'm doing my best to be as understanding as possible and not to overthink things and stuff like that. So, and try not to feed into any negativity. So, yeah, that's sort of where I'm at on that. Oh, gosh. And I did wash my clothes today. I washed a load of clothes. I plan to wash more tomorrow. But anyways, I digress. Let me go ahead and get to this thought, which I somewhat went over this before, because I'm pretty sure I told the story. I need to take a sip of my tea, which I did make it, my hibiscus tea. I did make it several hours before the show, so it's perfection right now. But I talked about, I'm pretty sure, I don't remember what episode, because obviously I've done over 100 episodes. So stuff can run together sometimes, things can be parallel sometimes. It just varies. But I'm pretty sure I told the story about when I was in middle school. And I had said something to someone else, and it got back to the individual who I had said it about. And she came to me and she asked me if I said that, and I was like, oh yeah, I did. And she's like, well, why would you say that? I was like, well, I thought that this was the case. And she said to me, what you think and what you know are two different things. Think twice before you speak. And I've always remembered that, where some people know is related to assume. They're pretty much synonymous to a certain degree. I don't know if you were to look up the word think. Think is almost synonymous with assume. I'm not sure if you looked up either one in the dictionary, if you go to synonyms, that you would see one or the other, but based off of the definition, because when you think, you are under the impression that you have the right answer, but you don't know. The definition of think and know are two different things. And when people assume, they think something is some type of way. They think that someone is in a monogamous relationship. I'm just throwing that out there. They think that someone is poor. They think that someone is gay. They think that someone is straight. They think that someone went to college. They think that someone travels a lot. They think that someone doesn't get along with their mother. They think that someone is a school teacher or whatever. I'm throwing things out there where they may not know. I remember in a Whitney Houston interview, because everyone who knows, go to my episode, Whitney Houston is my muse. In a Whitney Houston interview, the famous interview with Diane Sawyer, when Diane Sawyer had said something to Whitney, and then Whitney was like, "Well, do you know? Do you really know?" Basically saying that you don't know, you're assuming, you think, whatever, whatever, whatever. Same thing when Whitney Houston and Wendy Williams had an interview. Whitney Houston said, "You don't live with me, you don't sleep with me, you don't do blank with me, but talk about me." Letting Wendy Williams know that she was not in Whitney's home. So the things that she talks about when Wendy Williams, and this, like I said, this isn't a dig at Wendy Williams, because Wendy Williams is Wendy Williams. But when Wendy Williams hears things, or when people gossip and talk about stuff, and Wendy Williams repeats that gossip, gossip is an assumption. You're assuming based off of the gossip you've heard. You think the information is correct. You don't know if the information is correct, because you were not part of the equation. Now, if you're part of the equation, that's different. You know what went on. And if you know, guess what? You don't have to assume, because you know. I know I'm 41 years old. I don't have to assume. I know it. Where someone might be like, "Oh, well, I think Casey's 41 years old," and they've never seen me say my age or anything like that, or they may have heard it from somebody else. They're assuming, because they might have heard from someone else, "Yeah, Casey's 41. But do you know? Did you hear it come from Casey, or did you hear it come from somebody else?" That's the thing. And it seems that people assume a lot because they think. And another famous saying, which I believe was on one of my mother's favorite movies, Under Siege, because she loves Steven Seagal. It was, "Assumption is the mother of all F-ups," is what was said. Take another sip of my tea for those who are listening to the podcast. Okay. So yeah, assume and know are not synonyms. They're not the same thing. And I wish that when people sit down and analyze situations or information that lands in their lap, they realize that they're assuming stuff a lot of the times if they were not party to it. And that's why it's always good to qualify things with, "Hey, this is just my opinion." Because opinion then becomes a thing of, all right, let's attach that to think. That is my thought. I'm giving my opinion. Just like on Keeping It Real with KC, whether I'm doing my daily thought or the Keeping It Real with KC show on the weekend, I'm giving my opinion on things. When I talk about personal stuff that's happened to me personally, then yeah, I'm stating an actual fact for the most part, if it's related to me personally, because I was part of it. So I know. I don't have to assume anything because I was there. But when it comes to opinions being related to think, being related to assuming, assumptions, people need to do a better job of realizing the difference. Just because they think they're assuming, they have an opinion, it doesn't mean that it's fact or that they know. That isn't guaranteed. Now, can you think something and be right? Absolutely. You can think something and be right. You can assume and be right. You can assume, talking to someone, that, oh, they're probably from the Northeast of the United States. You can assume that. And then you can ask them, hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from New York. Oh, I'm from, Boston. I'm from Rhode Island, wherever. Then it's like, okay, you had assumed before because you heard them open their mouth. You were having a conversation with them, and based off of their accent, you assumed, oh, they must be from up north. But do you know? I'll give you an example while I'm thinking about accents, because that just made me think of a story. Back a long time ago, when I did customer service, and I probably mentioned this before, the company that I worked for, we did customer service for the Northeast. And I would talk to people from the Northeast anywhere from 8 hours to 12 hours, 5 to 6 days a week. It would vary. So after talking to them for so long, you eventually might develop an accent, and I did. And later on, years later, I was on the phone with someone, and he asked me, he's like, are you from Boston? I'm like, no. He's like, New York? I'm like, no. He's like, I'm trying to place your accent. And then I told him, I was like, no, I'm from South Carolina. And he's like, what? And I'm like, it's a long story. It's a long story. So it's not, that accent isn't as heavy as it was years ago. Sometimes it comes and goes. But that he was assuming, based off of having a conversation with me, that, oh, this guy must be from the Northeast. He was assuming it. But he didn't know. And he could have been, right, if I was from the Northeast, but I'm not. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. People sometimes mesh together, assume and know. They think just because they assume something that, oh, well, because I assume it, because I have this assumption, oh, I know. My assumption is right. Your assumption is not fact. Fact is related to know. Assumption is related to think. What you think and what you know are two different things. So that was the assume and know. And in this particular daily thought, it's been on my spreadsheet for a while. And I thought I had covered it, but I was like, well, I don't recall covering it. I don't recall talking about it. I know I more than likely told the story about the middle school story, but as for talking about assume and know, I don't recall talking about that. So I was like, okay, it's sitting here, and it's definitely something that can be talked about. Because people do like to assume. They really like to assume, as if they know. Even though assume and know are two totally different things. One is rooted in fact. The other one is rooted in thought. Even if you take it from the point of science, where you think, you're still guessing. Even in science, they qualify it, where it's a hypothesis. It's an educated guess, which is the definition of hypothesis. It's an educated guess. They're qualifying it to say it's an educated guess, meaning this isn't fact, it's an educated guess. They're assuming, based off of the information in front of them, that this is what it is. But they can't say for a fact that they know for sure. They can only assume based off of the information that they have in front of them, because they don't have enough information to say they know. So they are still at assume, and they call it a hypothesis, an educated guess, which is also related to assume. You think, you're not sure. So you don't know. Assume and know are two different things. What you think and what you know are two different things. So that's what my daily thought is. So yeah, that's all I got. Actually, yeah, and I didn't go that long either, which is a good thing because I got my chicken going. And I have to have my avocado tonight. I told myself I haven't had avocado in about 2 or 3 days, and I have to have some avocado tonight. So I'm going to do that. Let me take a sip of this. With my chicken, or as I say, chicken. And yeah, that's going to be that. This weekend, Wacky News Weekend. I haven't looked up any articles. Shame on me. I'll find something. I will find something this weekend, wacky, that hopefully we all will find funny. So yeah, that's all I have. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. KIRWKC on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook.com/KIRWKC. If you're watching this on YouTube or Daily Motion, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, followed by notification bell. That will let you know when I upload new videos. I'm moving in slow motion as I was doing that. My thoughts were moving in slow motion. That's why I was like, okay, wait, what platforms? So, because I have other things on my mind. That's why. Anyways, thank you guys for the support. I appreciate everyone listening to the podcast and downloading the podcast and all that other jazz. Until next time, be blessed.